The Black Stallion's development continues, sideways without a fence, a flow of back end front end. Maintain the circle at Trot. G'day, Tony Lander here, and today I want to present three things that we're starting to introduce to the Black. The first thing is how to start to go sideways without a fence. And this is a bit tricky. You need a bit of technique, you need a bit of timing and feeling, and you need some awareness for sure. And of course, we want to build in some compliant into our horse. The second thing I want to bring is to show you how we can start to isolate the hindquarter movement and then the front end movement, and then put it in a flow where we move the hindquarter and bring the front end through across in front of us. And you'll see there's a bit of non-compliant, so I'll show you how I deal with that. And then the third thing is I want to bring in how we start to build into maintaining the gait in the circle. And this is only a short initial teaching, and then we'll, over time, we'll bring in more and more and longer and longer. So, three things: how to go sideways without a fence, how to get the hindquarter front end into flow, and how to begin the maintaining on a circle. Stay tuned. I want to look at sideways without a fence. And this is a bit more complex because the horses, they really want to think about, or they want to go forwards. Not that they think about, that's their main mode of operation, forwards. So without the fence there to help, we have to have something else as the barrier, and that barrier is your lead rope. And basically you can pretend to have a fence by bouncing the rope up and down with my head. So you can bounce the rope up and down rhythmically like a wave, put a wave into the rope. And this can go up in phases as needed, depending on how much the horse pushes forward onto the halter or forward when you're not wanting the forward direction. So this gives the horse the feel on the halter, on the nose, and says, hey, don't push on this. Just like the fence would if it was an electric fence, for instance. So here I change directions, try the other way, and I do a little bit first with the hindquarter, and then the front end, then the hindquarter, and then the Black just decides it's time to get out of there. He wants to go forward, he wants to lift his head in the air. This is all pushy or non-compliant. This is pushy, what he's doing right now. He's pushing away from me in a direction I don't want and pushing hard on the halter. So this all fits into the pushy trait, not compliant. So I got him back under control and said, hey, don't push through this halter, using the rhythmic energy of the lead rope on the front. And then I put a little bit of support energy to match up and support my body energy. The body energy says, move it. I want you to go away from me in a sideways direction. And then the rope, the left hand rope, the end of the rope says, hey, you should follow where that body energy directed. And at the same time, don't push forward on the halter. You have to start to think about how you can cross your legs, how you can move in a sideways direction without going so much forward. Now, of course, at this early stage, I don't care if there's a little bit of forward, but when it's really a mindset to go forward, then I care about it. And I want to say, hey, don't do this. So it's really about getting the compliant and also the attentive, because often he'll get sidetracked, that is, think about internally and just fall forward, which is what horses do. Or he'll get distracted, not think about me, not being attentive to me, and then drift forward again. It's because it's their default operation. It makes sense that they do this. And I try to find the spots where he's got a little nice sideways, a side step, not forward, and then get a stop. So to try and help him understand, I can stop this energy, I can stop all this nonsense if I just go sideways. So again, I start off with first the hindquarter, just moving the hindquarter around, and then see if I can ask the front end now to move through. So I want to do this in a flow, moving the hindquarter, moving the front end, just a little bit more on the front, again with very little forward motion. I want him to be able to isolate the hindquarter and the front ends. Now this direction for him, going from having me in his right eye to having me in his left eye, is not so easy for him. He doesn't really want to step across this way. But if you watch the next section where I'm able to move his hindquarter, I'm on his left side and I can move the hindquarter away pretty easily, pretty nicely. And he does less forward, and then he brings the front end through so that he changes my side. That is, I'm now on the right side. I was on the left, but he steps across nicely to put me on his right side. Then I try a little bit of sideways, then go to the hindquarter again, and then the front end. And again, he wants to step forward, and he doesn't want to step across with this front end. He doesn't want to change eyes on me, basically. But he gets there with a little bit of push and a bit of lean on the halter. So I say, well, if you want to lean, I'll make it a little bit uncomfortable for you. This is not about pain and agony and upset, but it is about telling him, hey, if you are not compliant to this halter, you will feel a bit discomfort. Here the hindquarter again goes easily, and the front end comes through much more easily on this side, changing from the left eye to the right eye. And this doesn't matter, it's just a case of being aware that this is happening. Here again, we want to change from the right eye to the left eye, bringing the front end through. I don't want him to walk forward, I don't want him to walk round in a circle. I want him to just bring the front end across by stepping across the left front leg across the right front leg. And this is about building into the horse the belief and the understanding that he can move his ends differently and separately. Isolate the back end, isolate the front end, and it doesn't always have to be forwards, and it doesn't always have to be up in the air, and it doesn't have to be pushing. So I'm trying to build in what I call compliant trait, where he does this in a way that it's nothing fancy, it's nothing quality, it's just that he's moving when I'm asking him to move, and he's stopping when I ask him to stop. So I find that spot where it's pretty nice, and this time he went through from the right eye to the left eye really nicely, stepped across beautifully, so he gets a stop. And after this we'll head down into the middle of the arena and do a bit more circle. So the plan here on the circle is that he has freedom to move. He can move in and he can move out, he can go forwards, he can go backwards, he can do what he likes. But my plan is that I want him to be able to maintain the gait. I want him to maintain the trot around the circle eventually. And I would really like him to maintain it at a distance that he's at, without pulling on the rope, without flicking up, without rearing. But these are all things that he puts in to say, I'm not really compliant yet. But that's okay. We just repeat, and I try to give him the feeling that if he gets away from my rope, he gets freedom out on the circle. So when I ask him to go because he's not going, I swing the rope at his hindquarter, or behind him really, behind him to help generate the forward moment, and my left hand says, please go in this direction. So there's a direction hand, direction body energy, and then a support to say, please follow that direction, which he did pretty nice in the last round. I just wanted to look for one circle at trot and then stop. Again, it's kind of step by step. We don't push for 5 circles, 6 circles all in the beginning. Here again, he took off a bit faster than I wanted. He went off into a canter, but that's okay. Then he pulls on the rope and says, oh, I had better stop and I better change direction. This again is all non-compliant and pushy, pushing against the direction I want. So my right hand said, I want you to go to the right around the circle. And then the left hand said, put a bit of energy in. And he felt more energy, so he took off in a canter, even in a counter canter. And now he's got the trot. I'm looking for a circle, which he's just pretty much made the circle there without pulling on the rope. So I just slide down, lift up my right hand to slow the front, and put some energy at his hindquarter, get him to stop and relax. Let him find out that this is how he can get stopped. Hey, if you enjoyed that, what I'd love you to do is hit the subscribe button and the notification button so that you can get notified when I put up new videos, because I'm going to keep the process or the development of the Black Stallion going, and if you're interested in that, hang in there and keep watching the next videos.